Like, I know a few people. My wife got bullied in secondary school, and she, tells me of all of her experiences and this and that. It's just mind blowing. Like, I can't believe you went through all of that at the same time I was having the best time of my life.
Once you leave secondary school, it's kind of like you, for some people, or maybe even for myself, you kind of you remain in contact with the people that you care about and the people that you want to remain in contact with. But then a lot of negative experiences, you kind of just leave it in a suitcase and just keep it stepping and try to not really think about it too much sometimes. At least that's the way I think about it sometimes. Saladin,
Suleiman.
how was your week, bro?
My week was alright, but tomorrow, we're going back to my sixth form, William Morris, with Team Upside. So Suleiman's going to be able to see for himself the trenches. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that because I haven't been back for 2 years because last year was COVID. The year before that I went because usually every year they do something called Self-Development Day or something like that, where they bring in like loads of different organizations and they get people to just talk to the people in sixth form. It's cool because I remember when I was a student there and you get bare different people. I remember like there was this day where you come in and there were people doing yoga and there were people doing like acting or drama, like for this Wednesday people doing poetry workshops, bare different things. So yeah man, it's cool to be a part of that. So that's what I'm looking forward to. What about you?
Yeah, I'm excited for that. So next week, or like our next episode, we can reflect on how it went. I feel like Saladin's giving me the context of the school and like the type of students that go there, and should be character building for the organization. And yeah, man, I think for the type of organization that Team Upside is, in-person activities and in-person projects is just the best because you're able to really see the person that you're trying to help and you're able to like build some sort of relationship and connection with the young people that you're trying to help. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And then one other thing, Sadadi mentioned that Low Key went 2 years ago because Low Key, the rapper, the political activist, was an alumni from his sixth form.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to follow in those footsteps.
Where's Low Key? I'm not coming.
Bro, you better be there tomorrow though.
But yeah, nah, man, we got some very illustrious alumni. I can't lie.
Yeah.
Very good people. Yeah.
Nah, I think me and Zeeshan are the most important alumni from our secondary school.
I think it's you, bro.
Man said Wikipedia page, notable alumni.
Zeeshan Malik, that's the first person that's coming up. Yeah,
When's Team Upside coming to our school?
That's a good question. I think, what do you call it? I went to the school 3 years ago, and can't lie, they haven't been in contact since. so soon.
Was it? We'll call you.
Yeah. What do you call it? On my highlight of the week or highlight of the day, there's something that comes to mind, and it's based off the last episode, or one of the last episodes that were dropped on the YouTube channel with Ashraf. And Ashraf mentioned in the episode how his small act of resistance is smiling. So I think today, the weather was like proper down. Like everyone I saw like on campus or just around London was just looked bare depressed and like looked bare upset. So I wanted to test out the theory in it and just like, do my own little social experiment in my head. So I remember just walking and just smiling at people. Not like, I wouldn't go out to people and just smile, but if I was walking and we caught eyes, then I would just smile. And I can't lie, man, like people responded well to it, man. Like, people were smiling back. People did take notice. And I think, Ashraf is a G, man. He's got, I think that's a pearl of wisdom. In my opinion, based on my experiences so far. But obviously, if you try to do it and the outcome isn't what you expected, you don't try to chat to us, innit?
That happens so many times. You smile at people, they smile back. It's happy days, but when you smile at them and they give you cuts.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, Zeeshan, chat to us, man. How was your week, bro?
My week was quite good, to be honest. Pretty straightforward. I was just working 9 to 5. That's what my life is. The highlight of my week would probably be when we went go-karting.
Yes.
Friday we went go-karting and it was sick, man. I love go-karting. I've been a couple times before. And just with the boys chilling, and then we went for food afterwards as well. I had a great time, man. I I love it.
Obviously, Zeeshan's being very humble, isn't it? It's being very humble. He's not telling us the
That
details.
was the best.
What was it? What was your lap time, bro? I don't remember. It was
It's
something mad.
39 seconds.
But I was just 39 seconds.
Man, remember that
I'm
off the
just
top of
saying.
his head, man.
What's the decimal point, though? Decimal point.
I'm not gonna lie, it's 39.66. Average is 40 seconds.
Nah, that's crazy. How many, like, what was the meters? Was it 800 meters or something? I don't know.
I'm not sure, to be honest, but I know that the average across everyone who does the lap is around 40 seconds, a little over 40 seconds.
Okay, so you mashed it. Bear in mind, I'm not going to tell you what my one was, but it was nowhere close to that.
Were you lost?
Yeah, I was lost.
Okay.
It was his first
cut
time,
that
though,
out
man.
still,
It was his first time. He's never driven before. He's
Yeah.
never, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
You should be proud of yourself, mate.
Man said I got the participation award.
you had
Nah,
a
it
good
was sick.
time, man.
It was sick. It was definitely.
What kind of driver are you?
I love driving, man. I love driving. I can be quite reckless sometimes. I'm really safe. I won't do anything which I'm not comfortable doing. But like if I have an opportunity to go fast, I will go fast. But I will do it safely. Like I'm comfortable. I wouldn't do anything where I think, oh, if I do this, something might happen. I'll never do that. But out of all of our friends, I feel like I'm probably the one who's more comfortable going fast and being a little bit more reckless, I think.
You know Top Gear, how they do the...
Yeah.
How do you think you're doing that?
I think I do really good, man.
Thank you for asking. Thank you. I've been waiting for this moment.
That's a good question. More questions like that.
Yeah, listen, keep them coming, lads. These are the questions I came for.
Ah.
What's your dream car?
My dream car is an Audi RS7. My
Right.
cousins got it, and I just looked at it. It's so beautiful, man. I'll show you a picture later on, but what a beautiful car. Like black, Audi RS7. It's fast, it's comfortable, nice interior. Oh my days. Inshallah, one day.
If you can get any interior, what color would it be? What material?
I can't lie, just black leather seats, I think. I wouldn't go for red. I feel like that's a little bit old school. I don't know, in my opinion, but just black. I love black. Outside black, inside black. Classy, simple. Even my clothes, like I won't wear blue jeans. I wear black jeans.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I hide my blue jeans.
That's it. Wait, stop. No, that's
What kind of driver were you when you drove today, man?
But what on the go-karting?
Slow and steady, boys.
Nah. First couple of laps, I was slow and steady because my first time go-karting, I was just like, but everyone was going at full speed, bro. 40 miles an hour, very close to each other. I think everyone experienced a few bumps and a few like, do you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, but
Some more than others.
some more than others.
I think everyone had a great race.
I crashed into you one time and I felt so bad. It was
Yeah.
like going up the ramp, I just hit you and then I went ahead and
Nah, I remember.
I
I
raised my
walked into the go-karting place thinking this is easy, man. This is gonna be the most light thing I've done in my life because obviously I've been on bumper cars, you know, in fun fairs and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm always doing my thing on the bumper cars, but next time, innit, to be continued.
We'll go again soon, man, inshallah.
Definitely. I wanted to pick up on you being a risk taker.
You being a risk taker.
Tell me about a time where you feel like you've taken a risk that tell me a time where you feel like you've exemplified that kind of risk taker mentality.
Risk taker mentality. I don't know. I wouldn't do anything I'm not comfortable doing in the first place.
Yeah.
But to other people, that would be considered as taking a risk. Like someone who's different to me might be like, some things I do in life, like obviously, the example we've been talking about, driving recklessly. They think it's a little bit of a risk, but I'm comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
Other scenarios might include like money. I would say I'm quite, to the average person, more riskier with money, like where I invest money and things like that. A normal person wouldn't invest probably that much or even at all. So I would say I'm more comfortable taking those risks.
You know what it is? Because Zeeshan, I don't know, I haven't said this on a podcast yet, but because Zeeshan is my friend from secondary school, yeah, I've just got bare stories in my head, yeah, of like you being risky. Like two come to mind straight away. Number one, year 11. So before we had 3 periods, me, Zeeshan, and our friend Ratchet, we bunked period 5, went to the high street, went to stakeout, and we were just munching. You know, we were just munching the stakeout. Like, all of them lot are boys. Like, them lot are in class right now, but we're sitting down eating steak. You get it?
That was a good
We're
day,
kings,
man.
we're kings. And then the second experience is like, this was quite recently, but potentially this is, I don't want to say this is alleged, but we jumped into school, like, over the fences and just, like, walked around the campus of our secondary school at night. And we were just reflecting on our time there.
Yeah.
You're gonna
style out.
You're
Really, it was an exercise in retrospection. Really,
it was therapy.
Exercise in retrospection. That was good. We went stakeout. We also bunked to go Nando's one time as well, us three. And I've jumped over the school fence a couple times. I'm not gonna.
See, I can therefore verify that.
That's jokes.
Sadadine, would you say you're a risk taker?
I think so, man. Yeah, I think so. I think the reason is, in my early part of my life, I feel like I've witnessed the consequences of like things going wrong. So I kind of got used to that as like that's the neutral. So for me, if things do go wrong, usually I'm like prepared to just deal with the consequences. Like, alright, cool, that's calm. That's meant to happen anyway, or like I'm okay with that. So I think that's why. But you reminded me of something when you said stakeout. Yeah, when we was in, speaking of William Morris, when we were at William Morris, my friend H, he had, I don't know how, but he had like bare Pizza Express vouchers. Yeah, that lasted for seeming like the whole year. So, bruv, every lunch we'd just go Pizza Express and just order bare things.
That's sick.
And then we'd always have business after. And we'd go into business, with like a box of pizza, like leftover pizza. And we're just munching it in class.
Wait, for free or for discount?
For free, bro.
Oh,
We didn't pay nothing.
Yeah.
And then I remember the one time, this was obviously the last time we went Pizza Express, He tried to use the pizza voucher again, and obviously we ran off a mad tab. And then they were like, "No, we're not doing that no more." And the look on his face, bro, he's like, "Try again." Bro, because the idea of the idea when you get so used to not paying for food, the idea of paying for food is mad. It's like, bro, what do you mean pay for this? Yeah, it was crazy. Everyone started thinking like, why did I order that? Like brownie and ice cream. Like, I should have just stopped.
I should have just stopped. No, facts.
But yeah, man, those were good times. Yeah, there's that feeling of like no one else is eating that Pizza Express like me, because everyone else is in the canteen innit, eating fish and chips or whatever.
No, you think you're a G in it, 100%.
Oh,
What about you? Would you say you're a risk?
Go on, what are you
Oh,
gonna say?
actually, no, that's a better question. Go on, Suleiman.
Man-
Would you say you're a risk taker?
Well, I'm a risk taker. I don't know if I describe myself as a risk taker. I don't think that's like one of the first qualities or characteristics that I think come to mind when I like think about how others would describe me or how I would describe myself. But I would say that I admire risk takers, and I think being a risk taker is something I want to be more of, because obviously calculated risks, all of that. But being a risk taker is just kind of like, it's part of that excitement of life in a way, and it's kind of that sense of not caring too much about the consequences, or like really putting the consequences into perspective. I think that for me is something that I admire and something that I try to do as much as possible, because in most cases nothing is too deep, and when you kind of start with that beginning or that foundation that nothing, there are only a few things that I would consider to be very deep, it kind of just opens up so many possibilities for you, right? Like so many different opportunities kind of come out of nowhere that were previously invisible to you. So that's how I would answer that question. How do you think your friends, including me, including other people from secondary school, would have described you? Like you in year 7, you in year 8, year 9, year 10, year 11, year 12, year 13, from that entire secondary school period, how would you think your friends would describe you? And would those descriptions change over time, or would they remain quite constant?
Good looking. Obviously, from year 7, that remains constant. That wouldn't change over time. I think they describe me as quite sensible. I think out of all of our friends, I'm the most.
So you're the best driver. You're the most.
Nice.
Speaking facts.
Back in the day, I feel like in secondary school, I was the most sort of
Defo, man,
sensible one. Everyone was crazy, including Solomon.
Nah, listen, this is PG.
This is gonna be the Exploding Suleiman episode.
Nah, it's PG.
Quite, sensible, kind, reliable, loyal. All the good.
Man said my only weakness is that I'm too perfect. I'm a perfectionist.
Nah. I don't know. It's hard to think of a negative that your friends would describe you as.
It's
Like,
true.
I don't know, Solomon. What negative would you say your friends would say?
Nah, bro, come on, man. It's not a negative thing.
Constructive.
Yeah, man. The thing is, like, Zeeshan's not even capping. Like, based on my experience, he is definitely all of those things he just mentioned, and I would have thought of him in that light during secondary school. I'm just interested to know, like, to what extent do you think you've changed then, like, in terms of, like, or do you feel, and maybe you haven't, maybe those principles are principles you've kind of grown up with from young, like.
To be honest, I don't think I've changed that much. Like everyone matures a little bit, but I feel like I was already quite mature in secondary school.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think you were? quite
Just
mature?
looking at the people around you, they would do things I wouldn't, and they've changed so much from secondary school to now. Like you, for example, you're a completely different person to how you were in secondary school. Um, so you've obviously like matured loads. Ibrahim Qasim, all these guys have matured so much. I feel like I've not changed that much, to be honest. I feel like I'm still the same person, same values, same morals. I think mostly the same. Obviously, little things change, but that comes with growing up. But everything else is the same, man.
What would you
Alhamdulillah.
what would you attribute that to? The fact that you've kind of remained the same, and you started off, or you early days quite mature.
I would say obviously upbringing's everything, isn't it? Upbringing's everything. I've got a sister, I've got a younger brother. My mum, raised me, so I feel like I've been brought up well, alhamdulillah. To know when going into secondary school, I know what to do, what not to do. What obviously having fun, but like for example, in secondary school there was a lot of bullying in it, a lot of bullying. Some people had the best secondary school experience, like me, alhamdulillah. I loved it, man. My secondary school, when I think of it, I get nostalgic. My secondary school experience, alhamdulillah, was amazing. I can't even imagine people who don't have a good secondary school experience, but there are loads of people like that, man. So the people around me, obviously, some of at the time they weren't, you know, you witness bullying in secondary school, innit? But I was obviously never that person. Even some people do it unintentionally. But now, obviously, look, they've grown up a lot. Looking back, they look at themselves and think, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So they've matured in that sense. But me, I feel like at the time, I knew, this is right, this is wrong. I've always had the same values, alhamdulillah. And yeah, mainly to do with upbringing, my siblings. Like, I know a few people. My wife got bullied in secondary school. And she, tells me of all of her experiences and this and that. It's just mind blowing. Like, I can't believe you went through all of that. At the same time, I was having the best time of my life. So it's crazy. And obviously, guys in secondary school, they're so young with their friends, they make jokes, this, that, but they don't know how it can affect the person. Quite serious.
No. For like, it's very very. Yeah, it's a very not underrated, but it's something that's quite unspoken. That's the way that I think about it. It's once you leave secondary school, it's kind of like for some people, or maybe even for myself, you kind of you remain in contact with the people that you care about and the people that you want to remain in contact with. But then a lot of negative experiences, you kind of just leave it in a suitcase and just keep it stepping and try to not really think about it too much sometimes. At least that's the way I think about it sometimes. I wanted to ask both of you, if you could go back to secondary school and change one thing about your character, what would it be?
I'm trying to distinguish like personality and character, so something a bit more rooted. More honest. Yeah, I would probably encourage myself to be more honest with myself and with other people, I think. Yeah.
Maybe, like I said, the bullying thing, I'd stand up against it a bit more. That's what I'd want to do. If I could go back, I'd want to stand up against it a bit more, because I still did stand up against it at the time, but not as much as I could have. Maybe I just, like, if I witnessed it, I'd just be like, like, stop this, that, but I should have probably taken a bigger stand to it than I did. That's probably one thing that I would change.
Standing up for what's right, especially when it's regarding or like involving someone that you're close to or a friend. That's a very difficult situation, and I feel like there are some memories that come to mind where I struggled to do that, and yeah, man, I think it comes back to your relationship with that person, and like to what extent is it based on a genuine, like, I want to say love. I know it's a powerful word, but a genuine love and a genuine desire for them and for yourself to be the best versions of themselves in a way, kind of like, yeah. But it's a difficult one, man. It's a difficult one in terms of character. I would say. Malik, you answer that for me.
You asked the question, now answer it.
Nah, Malik, you answer that for me. Nah, joking. I ain't gonna make you do that. It'll be a long day. I
We'll
would
cut these pauses out.
I would just say more curious. I would say that's one thing that comes to mind. Just be a bit more curious. Be a bit more interested in things that you don't instantly like understand. Like if there's something you don't instantly understand, or like try to sit with it and ruminate with it a little bit, and just be open to that kind of stuff.
But that randomly reminded me of something. Yeah, we went on a school trip one time in secondary school to Fort Park, and I think this was year 9 or year 10. Yeah, and they took us into this room in Fort Park about how we make the ride. So they were giving us a talk. So it's kind of like a behind the scenes view of Fort Park. And then the person at the front who's giving the talk was like to this class, how they asked the question about why do you think we make the metal this particular color or something like that. Or they asked about like one of the properties of metal, and everyone in the class knew the answer, which was in metal expands in heat. And I remember thinking, how the hell does everyone know the answer to that? Like, where did you learn that? Because that's not even in our curriculum, yeah. So I remember feeling so confused. I just remember feeling so lost and dumb, yeah. Because I was like, bro, first of all, yeah. How's he even asking us that question, bro? We're barely even getting started on the course, yeah. And everyone responded to it like in chorus, like they knew the words to a song, bro. Like I'm like, bro, what? So yeah, it made me think about like the idea of curiosity, because I just remember thinking, bro, what the flip, bro? What's the point? Like, if these men got that level of a head start, yeah, where they know about metal and how hot it is, bro, because what? Yeah.
That's alright, man. You had a good day afterwards, isn't it?
Went on the
You
ride.
went on the ride. Who cares about expanding metal, bro?
You're someone that's kind of, I feel like it just makes sense. Like your story kind of makes sense in a lot of ways. Like you did come to secondary school with a sense of with a level of maturity that was unparalleled, or like that was ahead of a lot of people in our year, and you've made a lot of adult decisions earlier than a lot of us, like marriage, your decision to even do the apprenticeship and not go to university. That's a bit of a risk taker decision, because it's not the most traditional or conventional, but it's like alhamdulillah, it's worked out very well for you, and hopefully it will continue to do so. And I think, is there anything, like looking back at your time over the last, let's say 10 years, is there any decision that you've made, like significant decision that you are surprised with, or that you feel like maybe doesn't fit that pattern or doesn't fit that kind of, do you know what I mean, that trajectory?
Not really, to be honest. Like you said, I've made different decisions to other people, but I don't like regret those decisions, or I don't feel like those decisions were out of my character. For example, the apprenticeship. I knew early on, like, you know, and applies to so many kids in secondary school. They don't really know what they want to do with their life. They just follow what everyone else is doing. They go to secondary school, they do their A-levels, they go to university, because that's what's expected of them or what the norm is in society. But for me, I knew I didn't want to go to university to study something that I wasn't interested in. Like, yeah, UCAS, we all applied, but I knew it's not something I wanted to do. So when Ratchet went to that, when he worked with KPMG for a few weeks and got that experience and came back and he told me about it, he was like, yeah, it's sick. You know, it's like the office life. You do this, you do that. That's what intrigued me so much. I feel like I'm quite I don't want to say money motivated, but the way I thought about it was, I would rather go straight into the working life, get paid, get experience, get a qualification which is just as good, than go to uni and study something which I'm not really interested in, or get a degree which I don't really need to get to go into the field that I want to go into. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying obviously everyone should do that. Some degrees, you need to go to uni, you need to obviously get the degrees to then go into the field. There's no way around it. But other things such as what I'm in, obviously audit, accounting, finance, you can just go straight into the working life. So that's the way I saw it. I was like, I'm going to get paid, get the experience, get the qualification. So this is what I want to do. And I convinced my mom. It took some time, but I convinced my mom, you know, like Daisy parents, they're like, no, you got to go university, this, that. But when I told her everything about it, she was on board quite easily. She was very supportive of me. So alhamdulillah, I did this and I'm happy with my decision. But obviously other factors come into it as well. I'm not saying it's all. The benefits are obviously the ones that I listed previously, but there's also cons, like you want to go uni, You're gonna have that social life. You're gonna have those societies. You're gonna make friends. You're gonna do all of these things. You're gonna have fun essentially, as well as get a degree. When you go straight into the working life, you don't have as much of that. You still obviously you meet people, you make friends, you go on socials and this that, but it's not the same as uni. So it just depends on the person. Some people might be like, you know what, I want to just get a head start on my career. Not a head start, but I just want to go straight into it. This that. Other people might be like, I want to go to uni, get a degree, also have fun a little bit, experience living out. I've never experienced living out before getting the degree, getting the job, and then going into the working life. So it's different for different people. There's pros and cons. I could talk about it all day, man.
Yeah.
And the other thing you mentioned about getting married early, the way I see it, alhamdulillah, I did get married quite early compared to a lot of people. The way I see it is if you meet someone, and this is, it also comes down to religion as well, obviously. So the type of person I am is, I met someone, liked her, we got along, talked to my parents about it straight away. They were like, you know, finish your education, be at a good position, and then you can get married. And the feeling was mutual. So as soon as I went into my apprenticeship, a couple of years in, alhamdulillah, got married. I don't feel like it's out of my character. I feel like I did the right thing, and I could talk about that all day as well, man, like the benefits and why I did it. Yeah.
How has marriage changed you?
It hasn't changed me. This is one of the things I want to talk about. People think you have to be so mature and your life has to be set for you to get married. You have to be rich. You have to have your own place. You have to have a house, car, this, that. It's not. I feel like this is what everyone's built up to be. It's not that deep, honestly. You like someone, they like you. You've got the same beliefs, same morals. Get married. You can grow together. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd say the one thing. Obviously, this comes down to religion for me as well. Is you need to be able to provide for your wife. That's the one thing. Like financially, you need to be able to provide for your wife. But even that, like, it's not like you have to be super rich. Just if you're a working man, you can provide. You can provide. And like I said, you grow together in it. It's not like Medea, for example. She goes university. She's building her life. I'm working. I'm building my life. And we're doing it together. Like, we're gonna grow together, and we're gonna be more successful together. Do you know what I mean? We're starting at the same time, and then we're gonna reach our goals at the same time. I think that's the beauty of it. It's not. Whereas if you wait till you reach your goals, then you get married, then you miss that whole journey, and not wasted, but you've missed out on all those years together with the person, with your other half, essentially. Quite deep. That's my opinion. What do you guys think about it?
I feel like the audience, they want to know what side of these views are. Chat to them.
Bro, after you take it away, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, man. You one thing that's very clear is that you speak sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's very logical, very, very, like, reasonable. I don't think anything that you mention is, like, disagreeable. What I'd be interested to talk to you more about is, like, because one thing I know about you, and one thing I'm lucky to know your family, and I've met many of your family members. One person that comes to mind is your uncle, and I remember, like, we've had conversations about your uncle, like, a few times in the past, and I know that he's had a very impactful kind of, he's had big influence on you, and, like, he's someone that you look up to. Like, tell us a bit more about your uncle, and, like, why do you look up to him? And
100%. So my parents are separated, so my mum raised me as a single mum, and we used to, in every single school holidays, we always used to go up to Sheffield to stay with my uncle. So he was sort of that adult figure in my life who's there throughout my entire life. So whatever he used to teach me, and he used to teach me so much, man. Like, every time we used to go, he used to teach me different things. Probably don't remember all of them because he used to test me on them, and I did not get it right. But obviously, big moral, like things like loyalty, I feel like mainly has come from him. Like, loyalty is a big thing, not in just like husband-wife relationships, but family relationships, friend relationships. Loyalty, you're always backing your boys, has come from him. That's one of the biggest things. he's been there all my life, and he's taught me so many things I probably can't even. I'd be here all day if I had to talk about it. And he's given me so much advice. He's been there for me throughout my entire life. He's sort of raised me essentially. Because when you spend that much time with someone, like innit? Obviously, it. I must have talked about him enough for you to realize that he was such an important person in my life. Is such an important person in my life. So when you spend that much time with someone, they practically raise you, and their beliefs sort of become your beliefs. Do you know what I mean? You learn from them. So that's what my uncle is to me.
Is there a particular moment that comes to mind when you think about you and your uncle?
There are so many memories. Like when I was a kid, he used to take me and my brother gin hunting. He used to take us like to the closest like forest and stuff, and we used to just do things like that. Obviously, he knew there was no harm, but me and my brother were like, "Yeah, we'll go hunting. we're gonna go hunt gins." Do you know what I mean? So there's that. So many moments, man. We used to do crazy things like drive. Like he drove us around in like all nice cars. We used to do things like he bought us like a drone, and like we used to fly the drone at the top of the hill. He used to tell us horror stories. We used to pull all-nighters together. Like one night we watched like 3 movies in the nighttime, me, my uncle, my brother, my sister, and then in the morning it was snowing, and then we went to McDonald's for breakfast, like things like that. There's so many little memories like that, which are obviously important and come to mind when I think of my uncle.
If I was to ask both of you, who, upon first impression, to a random stranger, what do you think they would like describe you as, or like how you are as?
I'd say inquisitive. I tend to ask questions and be interested in people's stories and like where they come from. So like inquisitive is something that I think, well, at least I hope they would think.
First and foremost, handsome. After that, probably similar to you, Solomon. Like inquisitive, get to know who they are, where they're going, what they're doing that day, where they come from.
You know what? On the topic of like speaking to people on the tube, I've got a funny story. Well, it's kind of funny. Like that actually happened. Kind of a similar type of thing happened to me last week, where I was sitting on the Piccadilly line going towards Hounslow East, from like King's Cross. So it was quite a long journey. I was sitting on the seat. Like an elderly couple come through. Obviously, like the social pressure. But no, that was my good character. Like I gave them the seat, sat down on the side. couple stops later, the seat opposite them became free. I was sitting on the seat, looking over at them. They were both reading the newspaper together. They were very old, like I'm talking 80s, like this white British kind of like really elderly couple. They were laughing whilst reading the newspaper, and it was just mad to see, like, because I don't remember the last time I saw like an elderly couple, like an elderly couple, and like just chilling and stuff, innit? So I actually grabbed their attention. I said, what's the key to success for your marriage, innit?
Yeah.
And we got into a conversation, and bruv, like they were just telling me about their life, and it was just I think they really appreciated it. And the guy at the end of the conversation, he was like, keep asking people questions, keep being interested in people. That's gonna open up so many opportunities for you. And I feel like that. Yeah, that's just I kind of left the conversation on that point.
Wow.
Yeah, keep being interested in people.
So what did he tell you then?
He said tolerance and mutual interests. That's what's allowed them to be happily married for like 64 years. He said. They got married. He was 22. She was 18. He actually went to Oxford and he studied. I don't know what he studied, but he went to Oxford. And he was like, yeah, I know a guy called Iqbal. he was in IT. He was in IT. I was like, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So it was cool, man. Like, I don't ever do that. Like, I don't want to come across as if that's something I do often. It was probably the first time I've done it in years, bro. Like, I don't actually remember the last time I've spoken to someone on the tube, but for me, that kind of couple, just seeing that in front of me, it was like, you are a resource, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know how hard it is to find people these days that are like married and happily married for like so many years.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, especially because so
Mm.
just something that happened, innit? So I thought I'd share it.
Wow,
That was a good story, man.
that was so interesting.
Yeah, we'll talk about it afterwards, innit? We'll talk about it afterwards. Some things are not for the pod.
Zeeshan, has there been, or what would you say has been like the one moment in your life that has contributed most to who you are?
You know, that's a hard question, man. Because it's not one moment which makes you who you are. It's so many moments, innit? So to pick one moment is really difficult, man. I don't think I've got one moment. I've got loads of little moments. You know, Solomon actually told me last night, he was like, you know, these are some of the things we talked about. And then your voice note today as well, like turning points. Do you know what I mean? So I was thinking to myself, what turning points have there been in my life? And I was just coming up with so many unserious answers to this serious question. So I'll share those first. And then maybe I'll share with some serious ones as well. First and foremost, I was 2 years old and I took my own nappy off. I was just walking out of my mum's room and I managed to take my own nappy off. This is my earliest memory ever. I was running out, pulled the Velcro off, and it was in my hand. And I was like, oh my days, I just took my nappy off. That's number one.
You were capable, your agency. You're
remember
able
that.
to do so much.
Things changed
That's
after that day. Number two, I was probably 5 years old. I was born in Belgium. So in Belgium, in our little house, I was playing football with like a bouncy ball in the living room. I kicked it, it hit the clock. Really nice clock. Clock fell, clock broke. I'm thinking, actually, no, I didn't think nothing. I was like, oh my days, I've done something wrong. I need to go tell my mum. Because honest kids are good kids. Honest kids don't get punished. I went to my mum. I was like, Mum, grab the hand. In an excited way, sort of. Yeah, it's really weird. Took her to the living room. I showed her the clock on the floor. I was like, Mum, there's a clock on the floor. I broke it. I was playing football. I'm sorry. Ta! Ta! I remember after that slap, I was like shaking a little bit. 5 years
I'm
old.
never being honest again.
Bro, 5 years old. I was like, gonna have to start lying a little bit now. Start break some things. That's another one of my earlier memories. Up until that day, I'm pretty sure I always told the truth, by the way. So that's another memory, which I was thinking of when you said turning points in your life. More recently, I would say not really a turning point, but I was talking to you guys about it when we went off the go-karting the other day. So you have to really appreciate your family and your friends that are with you right now. And it's easy to say, really easy to say, like, yeah, I got family, I appreciate them. I got friends, I appreciate them. I was the same, yeah. But when you lose someone then who's close to you and you didn't spend enough time with them, then you really start to appreciate the people around you. So that's what happened to me. Recently, obviously, my father passed away, Solomon knows. May he rest in peace. Salam Kujanatul for those from my. He really recently passed away, and my parents were separated, so I never really, growing up, spent that much time with my dad. Still loved him. Still, obviously, he was my dad. I used to see him every now and again, but nowhere near as much as I should have seen him. Obviously, he was in Pakistan for so many years, but then he came and he lived. I live in Slough. He lived really close, probably in central Slough as well. But I never used to see him as much as I should. Never, ever, man. Me, my brother, and my sister. My sister knew my dad way more because she's obviously a lot older. Me and my brother weren't as close, but we still loved him. We knew he was our dad. We've got so many memories from childhood. But the other day, I was just in the living room and I was on WhatsApp and I accidentally must have typed Papa or something, yeah? And I saw our conversation. So I clicked on our conversation and I was scrolling through and literally 90% of our conversation was just him messaging me saying, come see me, come spend some time with me. And I would, a lot of the times, obviously, I'd be like, yeah, and then I'd go see him, or after school in the high street, we'd meet up and we'd chill for a bit, because he was local. He's been in Slough for so many years. I could have literally seen him every day of my life if I wanted to. And there was one particular message which I read, and I felt so horrible, but I was probably crying for so long in the living room there. And this is really recent. I read it. He was like, come see me. Oh, and actually, this is a different message. Is, you know, come read Eid Namaz with me. In 15 years, you've never read Eid Namaz with me. I was like, can't. I'm in Sheffield. Do you know what I mean? But then, Alhamdulillah, I did manage to read Eid Salah with my dad um, before he passed away. But yeah, the one message which made me feel so bad and so guilty was, come spend some time with me. You've not seen me in a long time. And I replied saying, I can't. I've got exams, so I've got to work. But I'll see you another time. And he was like, so what's more important, like your exams or your dad? But obviously, I knew he said that because he was just feeling bad and he missed me. But I was like, you know, you're important, but I've got exams. When I pass my exams and I'm successful in the future, I'll be able to look after you. That's what I said, yeah. And future's here. I'm not successful. I'm still obviously 20 years old. He's passed away. I never got the opportunity to look after him or, you know, shower him with everything that he wanted in life, look after him, get him a house, this, that, because obviously Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had different plans. And that really made me think that I wish, you can always think of the future. Obviously, I'm going to look after you. When I'm rich, I can do this. When I'm this, I can do that. But that made me really, 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 really appreciate the people around me. Like my mum, I'll never take my mum for granted. Sometimes I just look at her and I think, I need to like appreciate this moment that you're here. I need to make you happy now in the ways that I can, not think about how I'm going to make you happy in the future. Same with my friends, my family, everyone, man. So that really, really made me think to myself that I need to start appreciating these people a lot more. And I don't think you can ever really grasp it until you lose someone who you didn't appreciate enough.
How would you describe your relationship with your dad?
So, in Belgium, obviously, my first 5 years of my life, I was born in Belgium, spent 5 years there. I was with my dad the whole time. I got memories in Belgium of, you know, my parents weren't separated at the time, so I got good memories with my dad. I've got loads of good memories, yeah? My relationship with my dad he was so, like, generous, so kind. Like, every time I did go to see him, he'd never let me leave without, like, getting me food or giving me money or something like that. He was so generous, so kind, and although I didn't spend a lot of my life with him, I know he loved me so much, and I loved him too. Love him, yeah. So it was a good relationship.
In what ways would you say you're similar?
My nose. It's my dad's nose. In what ways would I say we're similar? It's hard. Obviously, he was, I'd like to think, I don't think I'm as generous as he was, to be honest. He was really, really generous. And although I think I'm quite generous, he was next level generous and so kind and like, really, you know those people who are just so like genuinely kind, simple, generous, like from the bottom of their heart. Whereas, obviously, I think I am too, but not to that level. So, but
There's limits.
nah, man, there's no limits. But he's really he was funny when he was very funny. My dad was funny, and obviously I'm jokes. I think we're similar in a lot of ways, but it's hard to say what ways because there's just so many you can't just say he was competitive, I'm competitive, he was funny, I'm funny. There's not any big things, but in a lot of little ways we were very similar.
Mm. You know what I find interesting? It's not a tension. It's just like a balancing act. That's how I would describe it, between your desire to like provide for your family and provide for your loved ones, and obviously accumulate wealth in the process because that's very helpful to do that thing. But at the same time, appreciate them whilst they're here, and like that balancing act between wanting the best for their future but also wanting the best for their present. Like, how do you think that your recent experience with your father and like your recent reflections, how do you think that's shaped your idea of success and like your vision for the future and like what you think is a successful life?
A successful life is different for a lot of people. For me, it's always been the same. Like I've had this dream ever since I was a kid. I mentioned it earlier in this podcast, was to obviously have close friends, brothers, be super close to my family always, but at the same time, be wealthy one day, inshallah. To be able to look after them, so that we can have a comfortable life, and not just look after my family, then go to other places around the world and look after them. Like, there's nothing more. One thing I would say is the feeling which makes you feel the happiest is doing things for other people. Even if it's something little, you do something for your boy which is selfless, bro, you feel so happy. So imagine doing that, but at a larger scale, helping people who really, really, really need help. That's why that's my dream, because that feeling that it gives you, unbeatable, bro. I've checked the YouTube analytics, and it shows that less than 50% of you are subscribed. So if you enjoy watching these videos, if you enjoy these podcasts, then please subscribe. More's coming. Obviously, not better than this podcast. No one really better than me, but more's coming.
My brother, love.